Kolkata, the city of joy, was shrouded in horror. A young doctor, dedicated to healing others, became a victim of unimaginable brutality. The scene was RG Kar Hospital, a place meant for saving lives, now etched in the city's memory as a site of terror. The news spread like wildfire, igniting fear and anger. The sanctity of a hospital, a place of vulnerability and trust, had been violated. The audacity of the crime, committed within the walls of a hospital, pointed towards a systemic failure. This was not just a crime against one woman, it was an attack on the very fabric of society. It shook the city's conscience, forcing everyone to confront the uncomfortable reality of violence against women. The investigation began immediately, a race against time to bring the perpetrator to justice. The hospital, a crime scene, was cordoned off. Forensic teams meticulously combed through every inch, searching for clues. CCTV footage became crucial. Grainy images captured in the dead of night showed a man lurking in the hospital corridors. His face, obscured by darkness, became the focus of the investigation. The footage, shared widely, sparked outrage and fear. The police, working tirelessly, followed every lead. The hospital staff, patients, and visitors were questioned. The victim's colleagues, devastated by the loss, cooperated fully, desperate to see justice served. After days of relentless pursuit, a breakthrough came. The suspect, identified as Sanjay Roy, was apprehended. The post-mortem report confirmed the worst fears. It painted a gruesome picture of the violence inflicted upon the young doctor. The details, too graphic to describe, sent chills down the spines of even the most hardened investigators. The findings revealed the sheer savagery of the attack. The victim, subjected to unimaginable torture, had fought bravely for her life. The medical community, accustomed to dealing with the fragility of life, was shaken to its core. The report, a grim document detailing the horrific end of a promising life, served as a rallying cry for justice. It confirmed the heinous nature of the crime and strengthened the case against the accused. The medical community, reeling from the shock and grief, erupted in protest. Doctors, nurses, and medical students, united in their grief and anger, took to the streets. Hospitals across Bengal witnessed strikes and demonstrations. They demanded justice for their fallen colleague and better security for themselves. The protests, a reflection of the simmering anger and fear within the medical fraternity, brought attention to the vulnerability of healthcare workers, especially women. The incident had exposed the lack of adequate security measures in hospitals, putting countless lives at risk. The medical community, entrusted with the well-being of others, felt vulnerable and unprotected. They demanded concrete action from the authorities, a commitment to ensuring the safety of healthcare professionals. The protests, a powerful display of solidarity, sent a strong message to the government and the society at large. The brutal rape and murder of the doctor in Kolkata brought back chilling memories of similar cases that had shaken the nation to its core, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. The Nirbhaya case of 2012, a gruesome gang rape that sparked nationwide protests and outrage, cast a long, dark shadow over the incident in Kolkata. The parallels were undeniable, highlighting the deeply rooted and pervasive issue of violence against women in India, which continues to plague society. The 2012 case, a significant turning point in India's fight against sexual violence, led to stricter laws, increased awareness, and a national dialogue on women's safety. However, the Kolkata incident served as a stark reminder that the battle was far from over, and much work remained to be done. Despite the progress made in legislation and awareness, the safety of women remained a serious and pressing concern, with many still feeling vulnerable. The Kolkata case, like those before it, ignited a heated debate about the effectiveness of existing laws and the urgent need for societal change to ensure women's safety. The similarities between the cases highlighted a disturbing and persistent pattern of violence against women, calling for immediate and sustained action. The brutal incident at RG Kar Hospital left an indelible mark on Kolkata's psyche. The city, known for its vibrancy and intellectual spirit, grappled with a collective trauma. The sense of safety, already fragile, was shattered. Fear and anxiety permeated the city's streets, casting a shadow over its vibrant life. Parents clutched their daughters a little tighter, fear flickering in their eyes. Women, reminded of their vulnerability, questioned their safety in a city they once considered their own. The incident, a blow to the city's soul, forced everyone to confront the uncomfortable reality of violence against women. The incident had shaken the city's confidence, leaving behind a residue of fear and uncertainty. The horrific incident at RG Carr Hospital exposed the glaring lack of security in healthcare institutions. Hospitals, meant to be sanctuaries of healing, were revealed to be vulnerable to the same dangers that plagued the outside world. The incident served as a wake-up call, highlighting the urgent need for enhanced security measures. The lack of adequate lighting, CCTV cameras, and security personnel created an environment where criminals could operate with impunity. The incident exposed the systemic negligence that had put patients and healthcare workers at risk. The public outcry, fueled by anger and fear, demanded immediate action. Across the city, and indeed the nation, hospitals reviewed their security protocols. The incident, a tragic catalyst for change, forced a long overdue conversation about the safety and well-being of patients and healthcare professionals. The medical community's protests, fueled by grief and anger, were not just about seeking justice for their fallen colleague. They were a cry for help, a plea for a safer working environment. Doctors and nurses, often working long hours under stressful conditions, demanded basic security measures to protect themselves from violence and harassment. The incident highlighted the unique vulnerabilities faced by healthcare professionals, particularly women. Working late hours, often alone in isolated parts of the hospital, made them easy targets for criminals. The protests, a desperate attempt to be heard, called for a systemic overhaul of security protocols in hospitals. The demands went beyond increased security personnel and CCTV cameras. They called for better lighting, panic buttons, and self-defense training for healthcare workers. The brutal rape and murder of the doctor in Kolkata was not an isolated incident, but rather a stark reminder of the pervasive violence that women endure. It was a symptom of a deeper malaise, a reflection of the deeply ingrained misogyny and violence that women face every day in both public and private spheres. The incident, while horrifying, presented an opportunity for introspection and action. It called for a collective awakening to the urgent need for change. The conversation needed to shift from merely protecting women to truly empowering them, giving them the tools and confidence to stand up for themselves. Education, awareness, and gender sensitization were crucial to creating a society where women were respected and valued, not just as individuals but as equal members of the community. The focus needed to be on creating a culture of consent, where women felt safe and empowered to report harassment and abuse without fear of judgment or retribution, knowing they would be heard and supported. Stricter laws and their effective implementation were crucial, but they were only part of the solution. True change required a shift in societal attitudes and behaviors. The path to a safer future for women required a collective effort, a commitment from every individual to challenge and change the status quo, ensuring that every woman can live without fear. As the investigation continued and the city grappled with its grief, it was important to remember the victim. She was more than just a statistic, more than a symbol of violence against women. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a doctor with dreams and aspirations. Her life, brutally cut short, held immense promise. She was dedicated to healing others, to making a difference in the world. Her compassion and empathy had touched the lives of countless patients. Her story, though tragic, needed to be told, not to sensationalize the crime, but to honor her memory and to remind everyone of the human cost of violence against women. The brutal rape and murder of the doctor in Kolkata was a wake-up call. It was a stark reminder that violence against women was not a problem for women to solve alone. It was a societal issue that demanded a collective response. It was time for individuals, communities, and institutions to come together and say enough is enough. Men needed to be part of the solution, challenging misogynistic attitudes and behaviors within their own circles. Education played a vital role in shaping attitudes and beliefs, and it was crucial to integrate gender sensitization into the curriculum from a young age. Silence was complicity, and it was time to break the silence surrounding violence against women. Speaking out against harassment, supporting survivors, and demanding accountability from perpetrators were all crucial steps towards creating a safer world. The fight for justice for the doctor in Kolkata was a fight for all women. It symbolized the broader struggle for women's rights and safety everywhere. This tragic event highlighted the urgent need for systemic change and the importance of solidarity in the face of such atrocities. We must all work together to ensure that no woman has to live in fear and that justice is served for all victims of violence.